Undoubtedly, this was the deadliest pirate ship ever to sail the seven seas, an unmatchable pirate ship that struck fear in the heart of the captain of a merchant ship traversing the oceans of the Caribbean. A pirate ship that terrorized the merchant ships of the Caribbean seas for several months. Over 100 feet long, armed with 39 deck cannons, and crewed by about 100 cutthroats. Its destructive munition was able to damage the hull of any ship irreparable, thus making it difficult to escape an attack by this pirate ship. Blackbeard's Queen Anne's Revenge was one of the most fearsome pirate ships of its time. Contrary to what Hollywood movies often depict on the silver screen, pirates didn't all operate large, heavily armed ships like the Queen Anne's Revenge. In fact, in the 17th century, most pirate captains would have used much smaller vessels called sloops. The big advantage of a small sloop is it was fast. Also, it didn't draw much water, so you could hide in coastal waters fairly easily. So in those waters, they were perfect. However, as he became more successful, he aspired to expand his operation. So it is obvious that he needed a much larger ship, which could carry more men, more guns, and more provisions, and more plunder. And that's exactly how Blackbeard got hold of the Queen Anne's Revenge. It didn't start off with that name. Originally it was a French slave ship called La Concorde, which Blackbeard captured in November 1717. Pretty soon, he tricked it out and turned it into the deadliest and terrifying pirate ship near Martinique in the West Indian Islands. La Concorde was mainly carrying slaves from the west coast of Africa to the Caribbean in the fastest possible time with as little death and disruption as possible. The design of a slave ship wasn't motivated by a respect for the human rights or suffering of the human cargo packed below decks. It was motivated by money. A slow passage meant more deaths, and for every slave that died, it meant less profit for the ship's owner. The slave ship was armed with 18 cannons, but Blackbeard wasn't satisfied. He refitted La Concorde, ripping out its superstructure to create deck space, and beefed up its armament, adding another 20 more cannons, giving it devastating firepower. But the supremacy of the Queen Anne's Revenge was short-lived. After just 6 months, she hit a sandbar off Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina, and sank in shallow water.